Hi, I'm Aaron, a developer advocate at Ditto. In today's video, I'll walk you through our Quickstart demo app for Swift using SwiftUI. I'll show you how to pull the code, set it up, and run the app so you can see Ditto's real-time syncing in action. Before we dive in, let's make sure you have the following set up: a Ditto Portal account, Git installed, and Xcode 15 or higher installed. I'm using Xcode 16. Need help with the Ditto Portal? Check out the linked video in the description. To start out with, I need to clone the Quickstart repository. As you can see on the screen, I have the Swift Quickstart documentation open. Under the Clone the Repo section, there is a link to the git clone command. I'm going to copy that and paste it into my terminal. Now I can change direction into the Quickstart. Before opening the project in Xcode, we need to configure an environment file. I'm going to use the copy command to copy a sample environment file to an environment file. Now I'm going to edit the env file. You'll notice I have 4 values I'm looking for: a Ditto app ID, playground token, auth URL, and WebSocket URL. I can find these values from the Ditto Portal. I'm going to open the Ditto Portal in my web browser. The app ID, auth URL, and WebSocket URL can be found under the Big Peer Connection Information section. You can use the square on the right side to copy information to the clipboard, then paste it into the environment file for the app value. The online playground token can be found under the authentication mode section, which provides the same square icon to copy to the clipboard. You can now use this to update the environment file. With the file updated, you can now save and close it. Now I can open the repo in Xcode. I'm going to use the Open Existing Project button and browse to the code. Note that you will want to make sure that you browse to the folder in the Quickstart Swift Tasks folder and select the task.xcode proj file. Once the repo is open, it'll work on starting to restore the Swift Package Manager packages. This can take anywhere from several seconds to several minutes, depending on your computer and internet speed. For this project, I'm going to use 2 physical devices: a physical iPhone and an iPad mini connected to my computer. One device will be labeled Aaron's iPhone 16 Pro Max, which I'll refer to as iPhone 16, and one will be labeled as iPad mini, which I'll refer to as iPad. Because I'm using physical devices, I'll need to set up code signing in order for the app to compile and push to those devices. If you're just going to use an emulator, you do not need to do this step. With this, I can now push the code to my device. I'm going to start by pushing the code first to my iPhone 16. I can do this by selecting the iPhone 16 from the list of devices, and then clicking the play icon. When the app opens, I'm going to click allow to allow it to run both with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You can see the app starts up with data already inside of it. This is because when the app first launches, it has a preset set of data that is included with it. I've also updated and added a couple tasks when I was testing the app. Now I'm going to launch the device on my iPad. To do this, I'm going to stop the app from running on my iPhone and then switch the device to my iPad. To see the device on my screen, I'm going to use QuickTime in order to view my iPad. This will allow me to see both the iPad and the iPhone at the same time. When using QuickTime, however, I cannot physically click on items on the iPad and have it update. Instead, I must use the screen on the device. I can see with the iPad now, I have a list of my tasks showing up on the screen. With this, I can stop Xcode and I can play around with the apps without needing to debug them anymore. To start out with, I'm going to use my iPhone to update some of the tasks and see how quickly it updates on my iPad. I'm going to start by clicking the Pay Bills to basically mark the task as done. You can see here I've undone the task, and when that happened, my iPad updated instantly. If I were to select a different task, say for example, learn to write DQL, and click the little circle, you can see instantly my iPad is now updating. Now I'm going to go through and add a new task. When I click the create button, you'll see that instantly the task shows up both on my iPhone and my iPad. Similarly, you can delete a task by swiping from right to left. I'm going to do this on my iPad. Notice when I swiped from left to right and hit the delete button, it instantly was deleted from my iPhone. Now I'm going to turn off syncing to show what happens when I turn off syncing. This will emulate if the phone was both turned to either airplane mode or if Wi-Fi and Bluetooth was not available. When I update the iPhone by clicking the task for Learn to Write Decode to be completed, notice how the iPad does not update. On top of this, I'm going to go and set the Pay Bills task to be completed on my iPad. Notice how the iPhone doesn't update. When I click the sync button, the devices should now be in sync, and you can see that both the iPad and iPhone now have the same information. I can then go into the iPad and update it, and my iPhone updates in real time. Now, let's go through and test to see what would happen if my iPad lost its Wi-Fi connection, and the only network connection I have available then would be Bluetooth. I'm going to swipe down from my device to turn off the Wi-Fi. As you can see, I went through and turned my iPad onto airplane mode, with Wi-Fi off, Bluetooth on, and this is not a cellular connected iPad, so it does not have access to the internet via any other means other than the Wi-Fi. Now I'm going to go through and update one of the tasks on my iPad. You'll notice that instantly the iPhone still updates. How is this possible? Well, that is possible in the power of Ditto. We can sync on multiple network types. So because of this, Bluetooth is still able to go through and update from my iPad to my iPhone. Let's go through and see if the task updated in the Big Pier. I'm going to go through and select my collection from the Big Pier. You can see here are all my tasks. You can see here the Learn to Write Decode is set to true. If I were to go back to my physical devices, and for example, uncheck that, and now go back to my Big Pier and rerun the query, you'll see now it's set to false. Finally, let's test by going through and adding a new task to the list on my iPad. As you can see, I have a new task called Added via Bluetooth. I'm going to go into the portal now and refresh it to see whether or not I see that task available. As you can see, we have a new task called Added via Bluetooth. This is the power of Ditto, enabling offline-first applications with seamless peer-to-peer and cloud syncing. With a minimum setup, you can build apps that sync instantly, keep devices in sync even offline, use Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and local networks for data transfers across all devices regardless of platform. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.